Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Edge Sports Network. Hope you guys are doing all right. We have another interview for you guys today on the site, part of our summer series here with Troy Brown. He's a linebacker at Central Michigan. Troy, thanks so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Looking forward to the interview here. We'll start early on. When you were in high school, I assume every guy's goal when they're playing high school football is to make it to college football and then go beyond. So when you're in high school here, what parts of your game were you kind of really focusing on trying to get tuned up and ready for college?
As a high school player, I knew I lacked a lot of things going into college.
Hmm.
So I obviously wanted to get my weight up
Hmm.
as far as to be able to move around with the bigger guys. Also, I wanted to have my feet right
Hmm.
going into college. Try to work on things in that nature to make me better as an athlete. So just the small things.
Yeah, you've had a very good first two seasons at CMU. And I know you're from Flint, so how'd you settle on Central Michigan for a school choice? Did you kind of want to stay local, or was it more just you were willing to go anywhere? It was just what school fit you best? I know you did ultimately end up staying relatively close to home. So what kind of went into that decision for you, and how'd you settle on Central Michigan?
Central Michigan, they made me feel like this was a home to me.
Hmm.
They gave me my first Division One offer, so these guys, they believed in me from day one, and
Hmm.
building a relationship with the coaches and everything, it just made me want to stay here. It's not necessarily as me wanting to be close to home.
Hmm.
It was also a bonus that I found a home that was also very close to my
Hmm.
original hometown. So that played a big role in my decision. And just also just gelling with the guys, the people that I met here, I
Hmm.
can say that, what I'm saying, even though I've known them for only 2 or 3 years, I feel like I've known them my whole life.
Yeah, you get to Central Michigan. I know you redshirted in your first season. I always like to ask, what was that experience like for you? A year off of live action can be tough for some guys. I know I've talked to a lot of guys who have redshirted. Some say, all right, got through it pretty easily, helped out. Others say it was a little bit tough, lost a little bit of confidence. How was it for you? Were you able to kind of stay focused? Did you face adversity through it? What was that experience like?
I could say that it was probably one of the most difficult points in my life because
Mm-hmm.
here I go from playing every season to sitting out a season
Mm-hmm.
simply because they felt like I wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of put my mind in a different position to where I battled adversity and I wondered whether what I'm saying, if I was good enough or if I actually deserved to be in the spot that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
So my redshirt freshman kind of went, left as far as me being focused and me staying um, in on the football field. So I guess it was kind of hard for me, but it made me, what I'm saying, it made me mature as a player
Mm-hmm.
because I had to know that there was a reason why I wasn't out there.
And when you come back for your first season after that redshirt season, you played 10 games, started in a game. How'd that season go for you? How'd you feel mentally, physically, just kind of comfort-wise with CMU? It's your first time playing in that college football atmosphere, new pace of play. So how'd you just kind of feel overall in your first season with CMU?
My first season, I felt like I began to pick up the midst of how to be an athlete and how to be a college football player.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me a reality check because I felt like I should have been out there more, but
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't working hard enough in their minds, and it put that in my mind that I wasn't working hard enough because I only played, limited reps.
Mm-hmm.
So I that off season I strive to go find me a spot on that defense to where I could thrive and what I'm saying, I could play
Mm-hmm.
my game.
You come out your redshirt sophomore season this past year. You played in 14 games, had 13 starts, 91 tackles, 75 were solo, led your team in tackles and solo tackles. You were named the Herb Duramity Team MVP, team captain. You had first team All MAC honors. just an unbelievable year and a huge jump from your first season to your second. I mean, I know you just mentioned that you did a lot of off-season work to really improve your skills, really make sure that you had secured opportunities for this past year, but how do you make that significant of a jump? I mean, I know it's off-season work, but did you just kind of feel more comfortable this season too? I know you had more opportunities, but how do you kind of get in that right mindset in order to make such a massive improvement just from one year to the next?
I really believe it's just the getting comfortable with the game.
Mm-hmm.
As I got out there this year, I noticed that the game was very slow to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the plays, they would slow down to me, the reads and everything. So it became not necessarily easier, but I worked hard enough to where the game came to me naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And as a player, I thrived on that. And you know what I'm saying? It worked to my advantage this year. A lot of people, not necessarily doubted me, but they
Mm-hmm.
set me off to the side to where they didn't think that I would have the year that I would have. But in my mind and in my teammates' mind, they always knew that I was big play ready.
Mm-hmm.
So that made a big difference.
Yeah, speaking of big play ready, I mean, I want to go to a game here against Ball State. You guys are up 45-44 in the fourth quarter, about a minute left, and you go out, you get an interception to seal the deal here. You guys come out with the win. I mean, you just kind of mentioned how the game slowed down for you throughout this year. In that situation, I mean, what's kind of going through your head? You obviously have to be physically prepared, but how do you stay mentally prepared in that situation, come up with that big play, seal the deal? You know, that right there, close game. I mean, it was for the win. It was for the win, basically, and you go out, make that play, seal the win for you guys. How do you stay focused there? Can you walk us through that play a little bit? What kind of works for you?
It's crazy because that whole game we were down, we were battling.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the hardest games we had all year. We ended up getting the lead, battling back, and right before that play came, my coach told me that I'm going to make a play. Like he told me, he
Mm-hmm.
grabbed my helmet and he said, "You're going to go make a play."
Wow.
And it's crazy because the next play went out, bam, he drops back, I drop back, get in my coverage, he throws
Mm-hmm.
the ball, I'm seeing it, and it's a pick. So it is the way it happened. It's like it's the way it was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that play, I really hold that play. You know what I'm saying? Deep in my memory because my coach told me that you're going to go make this play, and it happened.
You certainly went out, made the play. You guys got the win. I mean, as I said, very close game, 45-44. You guys are clawing your way back throughout that game. And that was just a hard-fought game. You guys still managed to come out with the win. And I mean, you guys had a good schedule this season. I mean, you guys played Wisconsin, you guys played Miami, down in Florida. You had 7 tackles in that Miami game. You had 10 in the Wisconsin one. How do those games kind of test your abilities? Those are really good teams. I'm sure the stakes are a little bit higher for you. How do those games kind of test you out and really challenge your play? And going off of that, how do you come out in a game like that and still manage to play at a high level, even though the competition might be a little better, even though stakes might be a little bit raised? How do you kind of stay within yourself, stay within your game, and come out and perform?
In my mind, I always believed that I was and I do have the talent to play
Mm-hmm.
at the level, at the ACC level or at the Big Ten level.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me as a personal player. I feel like I can play with anybody that steps on that field.
Mm-hmm.
But going into those games, those games, I had chips on my shoulder because I felt like people wrote me off, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to prove something. I wanted to prove to those players and those coaches that we are also very good players.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to show it every play, every chance I could get. So I wanted to show out. I wanted every tackle. I wanted to get to the ball. I wanted to play those guys because they were given that pedestal that we aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are set to the side, and I wanted to challenge those players to give us our best. Granted that Wisconsin game wasn't a great game,
Mm-hmm.
but we turned around and gave Miami a great fight,
Mm-hmm.
in which was a very winnable game. And I feel like that is what pushed us forward as a defense and also pushed me forward as a player because I gained a lot of confidence out of both of those games, not knowing that I ended up with 10 tackles against Wisconsin and 7 against Miami. I just went out there and played.
I mean, you had the complete right mindset. I know some guys might step down from that moment, kind of take a step back, be hesitant, but you went out there and it just looked like any other game for you. I mean, I know it's probably a little bit tougher when you have those big games, but for you, it was just like any other game, stayed within yourself. And one thing I love about your game is I know you had 91 tackles this season, but you also had 3 interceptions, tied for fifth in your conference. I mean, not a lot of linebackers can be really good two-way linebackers, stopping the run, getting the tackles, and then also being effective in pass coverage. That's one part of your game that, you're really good at. You're effective in both facets of the game there. So what's the key to being kind of a good two-way linebacker with good pass coverage, stopping the run, still making your tackles? I mean, not a lot of guys can do that. And I'd imagine it's pretty tough with D1 receivers, some of the best athletes that we have in the country right now. So what's the key to that? What goes into the off-season training, the regular season training? How do you kind of lock that two-way way of play down?
Um, um, so before I became a linebacker, I was a safety.
Mm-hmm.
So those skills and those workouts that I've done as becoming a safety,
Mm-hmm.
I still implement those into my workouts now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still work on my hips. I still need to flip and run with people. I still need to get in the back pedal, as well as come down and clear and stay in the box.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep those inside of my workouts so I can stay versatile and just so I can stay limb and be able to move with people. Because as much as I have to come down and be strong and tackle somebody, it's also way better that if I can get out and I can run with a fast guy in space.
Mm-hmm.
So just being, yeah.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, when you're in space like that, I mean, I know you said you were a safety, correct? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when you are a safety and then you go to the linebacker spot, I mean, is it tough to make that transition as well? I mean, I know that's two very different positions, but I know you carry some of those skills over. How do you have to kind of shape your body at all there, or your abilities to kind of fit that linebacker spot as well?
Most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So I started off, I was a 185 safety.
Mm-hmm.
I had to gain a lot of weight. I played this season 208 throughout the season on and off, going up and down really. But I had to put on that weight in order to be able to bang with those big guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I had an advantage to where I was faster than them guys, but you can't run around every block. So
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had to put on some weight. I knew I had to get stronger. I had to get in the weight room. Just work. You know what I'm saying? And even now, I'm still gaining more weight. So.
Mm-hmm. I mean, are there any linebackers in like today's league or that you watched growing up that you really respect their game? Not really try and model your game after, but you've kind of said, you know what? I like what he's doing. I'm going to try and have that mindset on the field. I'm going to try and replicate what he's doing on the field. Any guy that kind of stood out to you that you really liked their style of play?
A rookie coming in will be Patrick Queen.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like me and him have similar body types. He's probably a little heftier than me right now, but I'm getting there. Both 6'1", 6'2",
Mm-hmm.
outside linebackers can run, can move. You know what I'm saying? I love the way he plays, and watching him throughout this season and past season, I've tried to mirror myself like him, and also somebody like Quan Alexander that's in the league. Him being able to move fast and come down and fill the holes and just use his speed and not just his strength to get off blocks. That's where I try to take that part and put it in my game, because I'm a fast guy, and defeating the blocks is more to being strong. It's also the way you move and how you move and everything like that. So
your quickness has served you well thus far in your career. I mean, that's been evident. And yeah, I mean, as I said, a lot of linebackers we see nowadays might just be more that tough guy, that strong guy. I mean, they're still relatively fast, but not as quick as you. And I mean, that's really served you well. You had a breakout season this past year. You'll be one of the older guys on the team as you enter your redshirt junior year. So you'll kind of be a mentor for the younger guys. I mean, what are you kind of looking forward to that? What are you trying to teach these guys that are coming up in the system, coming up on the defense. I mean, what'd you kind of wish that you knew your very first season with Central Michigan? I mean, what are you just trying to instill in these guys, teach them the culture, teach them how the defense operates? What's kind of your lesson that you're trying to put on these guys so that you guys can be a better team defensively and just team chemistry wise as a whole?
A message for the young guys: I would love to let them know that it is a process,
Mm-hmm.
and there are right ways to do things and wrong ways to do things.
Mm-hmm.
Doing things the wrong way will end up in a 1-11 season, like I had my redshirt freshman year,
Mm-hmm.
and doing things in the right way and trusting the process and grinding will end up in having a chance to play for the MAC title and
Mm-hmm.
a bowl game. So we made a very big transition as a team from the year before to now,
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing that happen, it made me believe that it's a process that goes on about championship football, and if you really pay attention to it and you practice the way you need to, it will all work out. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just a message for the younger guys.
Yeah, you guys did make a really big leap, not only you individually, but team-wise, from 2 years ago to this past year. And I know I like to end on this question. I mean, I feel like it gives you a chance to kind of reflect on your career here. It might be a tough question, but if you could kind of summarize your entire career so far, what football's meant to you in just one word or one phrase, I mean, what would that be?
I would say football is a man maker for me.
Mm-hmm.
It made my life. It could have broken me at
Mm-hmm.
times where I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but it gave me a reason to keep fighting. It gave me a reason to keep pushing on forward.
Mm-hmm.
And without football, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't be the man. I wouldn't be the father that I am today. So, you know what I'm saying? Football
Mm-hmm.
it really changed my life.
You've shown it on the field. You play with a lot of passion. I mean, 2 seasons at CMU, and you've already seen a ton of progress. So the potential for you, very high ceiling, great work ethic, great determination, ready to be a leader for these younger guys. But Troy Brown, linebacker, Central Michigan. Troy, thank you so much for joining us on the site today. It was great to have you on. Great to hear a little bit about your career journey and your time at Central Michigan so far.
And thank you so much for having me.
No problem at all, guys. We will put Troy's Twitter down below so you guys can follow him to follow his career at CMU and after college as well. We'll also put a link to Central Michigan's website, their football page, so you guys can follow for news and updates, as we always do with the teams that we cover here at Edge Sports Network. But guys, we hope everyone's doing all right, staying safe, staying healthy. Hope everything's going well with you guys. Thanks so much again for joining us here on the site for another interview. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.